everyone. Welcome to Sweet Taboos. This is your host, Ayan Watson.
And this is Tiffany, your co-host.
Thank you. Welcome to Sweet Taboos, or welcome back. This is the podcast where we delve into the uncomfortable conversations that lead us to healing. Thank you all for stopping by. Please make sure to like and share this.
Most definitely.
Yes. Also, before we jump into it, this is a series. If you have not listened to or watched the first episode of this series, stop this right now. Stop right now and go listen or watch episode 1 so you can travel through this journey with us, understand where we're starting, where we are, and where we want to go. We really want to include you guys on this journey. So please stop if you haven't already and just come back. We'll meet you here, okay? So Miss Tiffany, to jump us to subject 2 on the racism conversation, take us away.
Yes, ma'am. Hello, everyone. I just want to dive in, and we have a few very uncomfortable questions, but hopefully we find answers today. We have, it's inevitable, and we're going to ruffle some feathers, right?
Yeah, it's inevitable.
Well, we have a few questions to consider. Why are Black people confined to the hood? That's a deep one.
Yeah, I feel like a lot of people will have different opinions on that.
Yes.
Because even people from different cultures are like, oh, I'm from the hood. Like, that's just something to say, like, oh, that was my original social status. But as far as our community, when we think of hood or, just describe hood, what are we thinking of? The boonies.
Yeah. Or we will say the ghetto.
Yeah, the ghetto, the projects, whatever it may be. But why are we confined to the hood,
I'm not sure, but I know as we grow in life, I mean, we shouldn't take that same type of attitude, especially our surroundings, our environment. We grew up a certain type of way, but as we grow in life, we've taken on a different way of life, and we shouldn't travel through life representing that. It's like stereotype.
Right. But stereotypes we can't get away from. What I've discovered is just that we need stereotypes in order to identify things. And because we're human, we want to be able to identify things.
Okay.
A lot of people will run away from taboo things that they don't really know anything about, but because they're unfamiliar and can't identify, we're just going to get away from that. So there's a rabbit hole in each of these questions, but there are 7 questions total.
Yeah.
So we'll both choose one.
Okay.
And dive into that.
Okay.
Because we have a lot to cover in this one episode, and I want to give you guys enough to chew on till the next time. Again, here we're having the uncomfortable conversations, but we need to have those in order to grow and to heal and, be the people God designed us to be. Point blank.
Most definitely.
Whichever one you'd like to go with.
Okay. The next question is, why are Black women the most unprotected, undesirable, and most disrespected woman on earth? Now I think that one rings a bell with me.
And please feel free to answer these questions in the comments as well. We want your guys' feedback. We don't want to just talk about things that we've experienced. We want this to be a collective journey. That's why I said, please go back and listen or watch the first episode if you haven't already. We want to have the best understanding and communication throughout the whole experience.
Most definitely. As for myself, I think growing up, I grew up around my peers, my own culture, and I thought at some point in life, these would be people that I could count on, that would accept me the way that I am. But it didn't work that way. And especially growing up in a Black family, had brothers, and still
Talk about it. Talk about it. This is the space.
Still did not feel protected.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not like I'm stating, oh, someone tried to attack me or physically put their hands on me, but I just did not feel like I was protected in a way to where it seemed more like my own kind came from me.
Mm-hmm. Right. You expect to have a safe space amongst those who are like you, where there's a lot of commonality, but sometimes it's completely opposite.
Yeah.
And that's the crazy part.
Mm-hmm.
So I understand where you're coming from, 100%.
Yeah. And it's just like growing up, just my friends, even family. I think that is a big one for me, just family. People that I consider to protect me, to look out for me. Mm-hmm. And it's just like even growing up and becoming a woman, I've also felt undesirable as well. Not even desirable to the Black male.
Mm-hmm.
And
that's something, I think that's a taboo topic within the Black culture.
Mm.
And, I think we've all had different experiences with that. But from the Black woman's point of view, there's this divide between the Black male, the Black female. But we've already talked about the roots of that.
Yes.
And it will come up again later on in the series. So just hold tight.
Most definitely.
I love that.
What about yourself? Have you ever had a moment where you felt undesirable, unprotected, or disrespected? Let's dive into that one. Because you may not, but I would like to give you that opportunity to speak about it if you have had an encounter where you felt any of those things.
Oh, I'm trying to think. I can't. I have felt disrespected, but at that time I wasn't a woman, so I can't attest to that one.
Okay. Mm-hmm. Well, maybe this resonates with me. So most definitely we have so many other questions that may resonate with you. So let's see which one would truly resonate with you.
There's so many.
Okay.
And they're all rabbit holes and things on their own.
Yeah, they are. Let's see. Why do all other races have consistent family marriage lives except for Black women? We have another one. Why do Black women have masculine tendencies, not cooperative? Or we're just so darn independent? We have those two.
Mm-hmm.
Does anything ring a bell with you?
I think as the Black woman in America, there has been the narrative that basically the Black woman only serves one purpose, is to be a pleasure to someone else. And basically she's worth nothing more. And I think the narrative of the Black woman today being so independent is because what? Majority of the male father figures are not present. And we will be having that whole fatherhood epidemic discussion with Marquise Dennis, the founder of Birthright Living Legacy. So again, that'll be a whole different episode itself, but that's the root. That's the root of that problem. We tend to be stuck in our ways and not cooperative because we've had to live such a way for such a long time. And it's hard to embrace your femininity when you haven't had the space, the security, the love, the protectedness to do that. So when that finally, if it ever comes, is very hard to get accustomed to. There's a lot of resistance.
Okay.
How can you not?
Okay.
That's foreign. A woman who has not been able, had the space to be a true woman and not work like a man and make all these different decisions that should be either shared or just completely given away.
Yes.
To the other partner. So again, they're all rabbit holes.
Yes, they are. I think something has, shifted in time. Things change things for us. Us as a race, as a household, as a family, something in time changed the structure for us, the foundation for us.
We don't have a foundation or structure. Very, very little of that. And I think that's why the Black community is in this infinite cycle of distress. There's no structure, and we can go ahead and just get into the nitty gritty, because this is what we need to become aware of. Everyone is aware of our problems except us. There was a post that I shared with you that was shared with me.
Okay.
It was basically some data about, was it the fathers missing or just males missing in our community? And it was just constantly declining. And if you look at the aftermath of that, that's horrible. All the things that take place because a father figure may be missing, or a mother figure, whatever it may be, there is no structure in our community.
Yeah, we have a lot of brokenness. And I think that's just something that we need to face and talk about someday.
And we can start today, start healing, because healing is a process, a long process. It'll never truly stop. But as long as you get started sooner than later, you'll be okay.
Most definitely.
And we're here to travel that journey together as a collective. And as we talk about the taboo space of the Black woman, the Black man, the Black nuclear family, whatever, we just really want to either be informing, educating, and just loving all at the same time. I believe solely that we deserve to be happy, but that lies in our hands. So if you're willing to put in the work, we can do it.
Yeah, we can do the work. We will do the work.
Yes, we will do the work. Speak that into being.
Yes.
So I'll read the last few questions, and we may or may not touch on them. But why do we strive to draw attention through material, perishable objects? You know how when you get online, what do you see? You see the Black community members, showing off the money. I don't mean this in a rude way or anything, but people who have money don't show off how much money they have.
Right.
You just don't do that. And then you're like, oh, I'm a target. Come get me. Are you thinking through what's the true message you're sending other than, oh, I have money? And then we also, we're renting out cars and getting all these nice things just to feed the gaze of other people, and that can also be a deeply rooted issue, just looking for acceptance and, recognition. And sometimes that stems from an unmet childhood need.
Okay.
Yes.
Right.
So if you never were acknowledged by your dad or mom or your parents, you may be searching for that elsewhere still as an adult, but some people may not realize that. So again, we just want to continue to become aware so we can stop these cycles, y'all. We have to become aware first to stop the cycle.
Yeah, it's a bad cycle. I can even think about when I was growing up and when I became a teenager and a young adult, just some of the things that I did, just searching, looking, trying to fill a void. That was one thing there, and also, as you stated, just trying to please my peers.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because we all look for acceptance. It's not like that isn't a normal thing, but to the point where, you start taking lives, that's unhealthy.
It's very much unhealthy.
So the other one is why, when we have funds to handle business, we spend it on things so far out of our price ranges that we get to a state that's 10 times worse than where we started. Mm-hmm. And that goes back to the other question. The priorities are truly messed up.
Yeah.
We got to get the priorities straight. Number 3, why are we in such a competitive space with one another? I know this world, and I'm realizing that this world is a competitive world. Okay. But we are so much stronger together if we use our strengths where the other one is weak. We aren't strong in all aspects, so why don't we just work as a team? We've there's already agenda to separate us and not allow us to team up. But we're in our own way at this point because we're just full of greed and jealousy and the spirit of Jezebel, whatever it is. Let it go. We can be so much better. And the other one, why are we so obsessed with stealing someone's partner or, degrading each other? I'm so sick of this, the culture, the hip hop culture and things like that. We can't stop the way people make their money because that's their way of living, making certain music.
Yeah.
I don't want to get in the way of your money, but there's a ripple effect from their work.
Mm-hmm.
The people are being programmed. The children are being programmed. We're just losing so much all at once, and we can't even grasp it because everything's moving so fast. And we will talk about that in a different series as well. The effects of social media. Oh man, that is put in place to help us, but it's doing things that
a lot of damage.
Yeah, lots of damage. It's pretty horrible, but we also are in control of that. We just need to wake up or whatever you want to say. And number 5, why is sounding educated associated with whiteness or, Asians or being whitewashed? Tell me why in the Black community we say things like this to our other members. Why is that a thing? Why is code switching even a topic within the Black community? What happens a lot of the time, Miss Carlisha Bradley, she mentions this in the global cohort. Code switching. She's been in the professional corporate America setting,
mm-hmm.
and she has learned, although she's in these different roles, to be authentic. You don't have to show up as another person because you're in this certain space and people are expecting certain things from you. Basically, what she instilled in us as young women in leadership, that you need to be authentic. And the code switching thing and imposter syndrome, let all that go because it's just us in our heads about what people think about us.
Mm-hmm.
And then it still comes back to knowing who you are. If you're code switching, you should be able to call yourself out. Oh, I'm trying to be something I'm not.
Right.
But for others to assume you're code switching, like you need to switch back when you're with them,
mm-hmm.
or I need to act a certain way when I'm with you. No. If I sound educated, I don't need you trying to insult my intelligence for loving myself enough to, grow my brain cells. Maybe invest some in yourself. So I just wanted to answer that as my question.
Okay.
Sorry if that was like a little heavy, but
it was a heavy one. But I think it needs to be spoke up about, mm-hmm. because we get that too much. We hear it too often that we have switched up,
mm-hmm. Yeah,
or we done changed, or we done became like someone else because mm-hmm. we have decided
or
to grow.
Or you're too good for us.
Right. And
you're acting bougie.
It's none of that. And it doesn't have to be any of those things. I think you should have that ability to be able to step out and step into your own space, become who you authentically want to be.
I'm sorry. It's just funny. Yes.
Yeah, it may be funny. I mean, and to some people, who's not willing to grow, they're going to continue to stay in that same spot.
It's unfortunate.
Yeah, it's unfortunate.
I hate that.
But, everybody is not meant to grow at the same rate. And True. We all have different paths. And so
True.
Not,
mm-hmm.
Boils down to not getting caught up in everybody else's mess. If we focus on what we need to do as individuals, we could do something grand.
Absolutely.
We could. Think about the things that we could accomplish.
That's just like, we could have Black Wall Street on 10.
Oh my goodness.
On 10.
With the opportunities.
But the thing is, people don't even know about Black Wall Street. People don't even know. And we're going to introduce that to those who are unaware. And this is crazy. This is crazy. If you grew up in America,
mm-hmm.
went to school in America,
And still going to school in America.
And not receiving the knowledge of basically the trailblazing people that have suffered for trailblazing. It's just crazy. So at the end of the day, we love you all. But if this behavior and cycle continues, we will destroy ourselves, even though that's already an agenda. Therefore, we have to focus on our new, healthy legacies, opportunities, and future. That's all I'm saying. I don't want to bash anybody, but we really need to let go of the thing that's not serving us purpose.
I agree 100%.
There's already an agenda. There's been an agenda.
Always. And it always will be one.
Just let it go. So what were you going to say, Miss Tiffany?
Yes, we were headed towards the Tulsa race massacre. And I was going to ask you, did you go to school in Tulsa?
Yes, I did.
Okay. And you graduated from a school in Tulsa, correct?
I did.
And so, have you ever heard anything about this while going through school, even going through history?
No.
Okay.
There's so much censorship in the American education system. And this is why with James Inc., we are doing our utmost best efforts to bring resources and more education and knowledge to young people, because the people who are setting things in laws are the same people who've been doing it forever. The young people they're not aware that we have power to navigate the way the future goes.
Okay.
You know, and that's what I really, really love about James Inc. Shout out to Elisa Bell. She is guiding adolescent and young families to self-sufficiency. And a big pillar of that is bringing information that we wouldn't have access to otherwise.
Okay.
So
Nice.
That's what we need. More education. So back to that, the Tulsa Race Massacre. No one told me that. No one told a lot of Black Tulsans that happened. They don't share that in school, and I think they're shameful about it. But that's where it gets tough, because where there's shame, there's guilt, and there's just darkness. You don't want to expose that, but we do have to hold you accountable. That we will do. So those who are unaware, or if you're aware, we are here to elevate and educate the society. So the Tulsa Race Massacre, or Black Wall Street, was an event that occurred in Tulsa, Oklahoma in 1921. This was June 1st, and the event was triggered by accusation against a young Black male for allegedly assaulting a young white female in an elevator. This is 1921. You can only imagine basically the fear instilled in a Black male. He knows his life can be taken away at any point if he gets on the wrong side of things with the counterpart. And also, there's no telling if she could have been groomed to say anything if she was in a space with a counterpart. And it's also 1921, and there is no evidence. There's no camera in the elevator. So we'll never truly know what happened. But I know that at that time, a Black man knows what to do and what not to do.
Yeah.
So, but listen to this. Shortly after, within 16 hours spanning into 2 days, a white mob attacked, looted, and destroyed the citizens and property of the Greenwood District and what became the Tulsa Race Massacre. Between 100 and 300 people are believed to have been killed and hundreds of others wounded and displaced. All of this information and data has been gathered from the Greenwood District Museum, Greenwood Rising in Tulsa, Oklahoma. Make sure to visit them and get your own experience. When you are there, you feel that you've time traveled. You really feel the fear, the sadness, and just the craziness, the chaos. Yes. You feel the hatred too. And this happened over 100 years ago.
Yeah.
You still feel that the passion, the hurt, all of the things. But we want to bring this to your attention because they don't teach this.
No, and it hasn't been taught.
No.
We have so many things that we have learned in school
that are so useless in adulthood.
Yes. And
so
one
useless.
thing we don't know, I mean, we don't know a lot about our heritage.
Mm-hmm.
And some parts is because we're not seeking for it, but then some of it is because it has been hidden away.
Mm-hmm.
Just like I mentioned to you, Martin Luther King, you know, his walk of life came way after this. And, you know, everybody knows about Martin Luther King.
Everybody.
About what he did, how he did it. And, you know, he made a lot of changes and impacted us, even today.
Mm-hmm.
But even before this happened before he came along.
Mm-hmm.
And in 1921, we had a group of trailblazers. This was a community that was building up
generational wealth.
Yes,
that was snatched away because the people then so greedy and jealous of Black prosperity. You can't tell me you weren't led by the motives of the devil. You can't tell me. It's not the work of God. And then you look at the money here. What does it say? In God we trust. And then you got the same people saying in God we trust and still doing horrendous acts, terrorism, domestic terrorism like this, and still not being held accountable. There are people still fighting for the survivors so they are served justice.
Wow.
There are 3 survivors.
Wow.
One very popular one is Miss Fletcher. There's another woman and another man. And there are attorneys and, you know, people still in court fighting just to have them take accountability. And it's a struggle. It's a struggle. So we're here to talk about this more. We need to talk about this.
Yes, it's sad. I mean, after all this time, 100 years down.
They still don't want to take accountability, whatever needs to be done. So it's just to discover this story is amazing. And to imagine that whenever this event took place of the Black male and the Caucasian female in the elevator, they basically just was like, let's go to war. They got the planes together and filled them with bombs. Wow. And majority of the people who looted Greenwood District were deputized by the police department. So tell me why we have laws and policies and procedures in order, but during this time, they said, that's out the window. We're doing what we want. That's not legal whatsoever. And what is a sequence in white American history? Constantly getting away red-handed with things that others wouldn't get away with. You know, they're breaking the law and not being held accountable for it. So that's just the start of America's deeply rooted problem. So what we really want to do is expose the exhibitions of systemic oppression, domestic terrorism, and historical racial trauma. Okay. The word trauma has been just overused and overthrown these days, but there is a certain space for trauma. Okay.
It is.
So the violence that really destroyed Black Wall Street wasn't physical, but structural. Again, all of this data on the Tulsa Race Massacre was directly borrowed from Greenwood Rising, the museum, Tulsa, Oklahoma. Okay. What do you have thoughts on? This is horrendous.
It is. I watched a movie. They also have a series on Hulu and pretty much Roku. You can pretty much find it on several channels as well to watch. I mean, and I think it's also a documentary as well. I think people need to really sit down and watch it. I mean, because we have lost our way. And a lot of time, just in today's generation, like majority of the youth, they do not really care about things that happened back then because it doesn't apply to them. But, you know, somebody had to pave the way.
Right. And what we don't understand as Black community members, we don't understand the weight, the true weight of the shoulders we're standing on. We all know what happened with our ancestors that were brought over here against their will. And then we're already missing the in-between. This is the in-between. Mm-hmm. This was right after slavery had been abolished. And they had opportunity to be independent and really, really exercise that right of being American and on the best soil in the world. Mm-hmm. And the moment they got too good with embracing that, that was when it took a turn
for the worse.
So urban renewal, those initiatives adversely affected the Black community and other communities of color. In the 1950s, urban planners used highway location and other planning strategies to physically separate Black communities from white communities. And then they would encourage the Black community members to support white businesses instead of networking and collaborating. I don't understand that. Please help me understand that. So we're getting ready to get to the meat of it. Mm-hmm. And I know your guys' attention spans are pretty short, but this is what's really going to set a way for healing, set a way for accountability. They're going to keep running away if we don't say anything. Keep running away if we don't say anything. This is unacceptable.
It is.
We have, what is that? Is that the first or second right? I think it's the first one, right? Freedom of speech. Mm-hmm. Is that the first one? And then I think the second one is right to bear arms.
Yeah.
I may be wrong, but I think that's right. Anyway, so under the guise of renovation and public works, this means that they were using this construction image on the stage mm-hmm. to basically cover up the real plan. Okay? The real plan was to separate physically separate the communities so that where the Greenwood district could not be effective in its entrepreneurship. It couldn't be fertile. This was strategically planned. So they wanted to destabilize Black businesses and usurp, which means overthrow potential economic benefits of desegregation. Mm-hmm. They did this on purpose so that those thriving in Black Wall Street would not profit as much as they could.
I don't understand.
Who sits down to cultivate a plan like that? Why do you have the time of day to worry about somebody else's life? You truly have nothing better to do? But that's what I'm talking about. Make it make sense. So then we want to move into power and perspective, y'all. Power and perspective. In this next segment, I will be exposing the white supremacist tactics for domination. There is a recent story mm-hmm. that took place in January of 2024. There was a professor
yes,
in Missouri, Jefferson, Missouri. She was a professor at Lincoln University. Mm-hmm. I am talking about Miss Antoinette Bailey. I want to give condolences to the family.
Yes.
Of Miss Antoinette and those closest to her. This story has not been talked about enough, and I'm grateful that I have discovered it. But the gist of it, and I will provide the link down below so you can read it and look at it for yourself, because this whole story is just fishy.
Yeah, it's fishy. When I first saw it.
It's fishy. It's fishy, y'all. So basically, this professor, Miss Bonnie, she is said to committed suicide 5 days after they let her go. Before she did this, she sent in a 6,000 word email, right? The email contained lots of evidence, hardcore emails, text messages, evidence of her being bullied and harassed by the senior leadership at this university. Her track record draws back all the way to 20 years ago. Mm-hmm. She's been in education for over 2 decades, right? Mm-hmm. So she was only at Lincoln University for 9 months.
9.
And what they have included in her story, she was struggling with mental health. But before we jump to the conclusion that because she was struggling, she killed herself, we want to backtrack, because in the letters and in the 6,000 page email all of that good stuff, the hardcore evidence that they're not releasing to the public, that y'all not releasing to the public, she was advocating for herself, that she needed help.
Mm-hmm.
And she basically didn't receive the help she needed. So because she was being so difficult, it seems that way, she was being so difficult, and the senior leadership was like, you're going to get in the way. We're going to go ahead and let you go. So when we do murder you, it won't look as bad. You know, we're going to cover it as suicide. And that is, you can call it a theory or whatever. Read the story, get the data. It's suspicious.
Yes.
This is a narrative and a sequence in white American history.
Mm-hmm.
Murders of minorities are being covered up. They're always bending and breaking the law for themselves, but not for others. And again, we all have to take into account good and bad at the end of the day.
Yes, we do.
So again, I'm just here to give condolences and respect to Miss Bonnie, and that we are going to do our very best to have justice served, because this is unacceptable. She was advocating for help.
And she didn't get it.
She didn't get it. And then she was being harassed and bullied. What? So right after this happened, y'all, again, look at the article. It's already there. There's plenty of articles. Nobody's talking about this. It's just crazy. It's just crazy. So they used the suicide to cover up her murder. And because she was dealing with mental health, it all is going to look seamless. It's not. It's fishy still.
Yeah, because she's been in the industry for 20 years.
20 years. What?
20 years. And the moment she spoke out about her being harassed.
Mm-hmm.
And
there's evidence. Release the evidence, y'all. Mr. Monroe and all the seniors at Jefferson, Missouri, Lincoln University. Please release it. We'd like to review the forms. You know, what is out on the internet will stay. Please release it. Miss Bonnie needs justice.
Yeah, we would love to know about her story. Just what she was dealing with. I mean,
Right.
her students, people that knew her, spoke
highly of her. And her friend also, in the CNN article, her friend was able to review the email she sent. And she said it was so sad. Again, we would like to see it if it's available, if the family would like to release it. We need to know.
Yeah, she deserves justice at the end of the day.
Yes, this is regardless if they had anything to do with her death or not. She still advocated for help and did not receive it.
And that's the sad part. I mean,
and they let her go 5 days before she killed herself.
Mm-hmm.
It just doesn't make sense. Please release the information. Please and thank you. So that was just one incident of power and perspective and domination. So this is just not gonna, it stops here. Stops here. We have to use our voice. Stop sitting around and ignoring things. Stop letting things go under the rug right in front of you. We need integrity. What happened to integrity? Standing up for what isn't right. Talking about what isn't right. Because if something's bad happening right in front of you to someone else, why would you turn away? Because that could be you. You would want somebody to stand up for you.
Automatically.
Make it make sense.
I think a lot of people resonate with, if it's not happening to me, it has nothing to do with me. And I think that
everything to do with you.
Yeah, it affects us all. And just most people, they just like to turn a blind eye.
Because what? Power and perspective. People are scared of power. People are scared of other mere humans.
No, and we shouldn't be.
What?
We shouldn't be. We shouldn't be.
So crazy. And we'll talk about that later. But just to keep pushing through, y'all, we're going back to the Tulsa Race Massacre and basically the aftermath. Media downplayed the significance of the massacre, in some instances castigated. That means they rebuked the Black victims for their own misfortune, calling it a Negro uprising and casting aspersions which means slandering on the character of Greenwood District, basically saying it was worth nothing in the first place. We did you guys a favor for burning it down and killing you all. You know, that was basically a big laugh in the face, slap in the face, and 55 men were locked up. You know, it was just crazy. There are also still to this day in 2024, insurance claims of Black Tulsans were and are being unpaid because it was occasioned by a riot or civil unrest. That's a whole tactic in itself, because with the help of media, white leadership, which are the ones who bombed and looted the place, that were deputized by the police department. Hold on, y'all the main ones that follow law and procedure, and you're over here doing this? That's very much hypocritical. So what we want to do is really be sympathetic, because what the biggest thing I think that's most rattling about the whole situation, they put in so much work to that space. This is right after slavery, right after being just put down, foot on the neck. You're basically a dog. And, you know, they got that, you know, that fresh water when, you know, when your tongue hit that cold water or the fresh water, you're just like rejuvenated immediately. They got a hold of that and they were like, oh, no. Britches were tight and they're still tight. So it's unacceptable.
It's truly sad.
And they were made to, I'm sorry, Miss Tiffany. This is why I want to share this information. People don't know that generational wealth has been denied on this soil. This is the United States. There's no place freer than the United States. Free capital, free everything.
Yeah. Well, that's
can own a business here. Right. That's what we're being told. There's an American dream here. This is the land of the free. This is the land of opportunity. And the moment they took that opportunity, they were denied it and punished for it. And because they had the power and perspective, they were able to shape a narrative that re-victimized the Black community, framing the devastation as a riot. And that only pointed it back at the Black community as if they started it. No. So that is a prime example of minimization. If y'all don't understand dictionary, get into it. We need to understand and comprehend vocabulary. So it's essentially a form of deception, which is the devil's work. This is also a tactic of disintegration. Again, if you don't know what that means, please look it up. These words have so much depth in them, and we don't know what they mean.
No, we don't. And this whole story, I think it needs to come to the light, because
it will, and it has to.
We have got into a space to where it is so hard for us to work together. You know, we can't put both of our nickels together to have anything, to even grow. And that's why I said this is a perfect space to have that conversation, because this is a piece, and maybe that missing piece that we need to know that, hey, this have been done before. Someone has tried to pave the way before. And that was a stumbling block for them. That was a stumbling block. And automatically they had to stop the progress. And so automatically the story needs to get where it needs to go, because we need to hear about things like this happening. Because now, as going back to the point you made earlier, everybody's out flashing money, you know, but not...
Our priorities are jacked.
But not having anything.
Exactly. You don't have no generational wealth. That money is gone the next 5 seconds.
Yeah.
You know?
It basically shows a root problem that we have, especially with money, perspective, priorities. I mean, everything is messed up. And so the story needs more recognition, but I think it needs recognition from us, because
you're right.
Automatically, we did have some people that were trying to pave the way for the future. And now, I mean, we do have our Black millionaires. We do have people that are changing the narrative now. But think about the power we would have if we came together
Right,
and,
just like they did in Black Wall Street.
Yes, and built something. They was trying to build something and thinking about it. I mean, it's not that we're here trying to take over, but we're trying to create something from nothing. And it's so much harder when we're divided at the end of the day.
Right.
And so this whole topic that we're talking about is just about the women being disrespected. We're divided in our homes. We don't have Black marriages. We don't have a successful group that are coming together and making a change. And we have generations that they're being led by the internet. That's who we are truly being led by what's going on the internet. We do not know anything about our roots, and we got problems, and we're going to continue to have problems. And so these stories and all the data that Miss Ayan brought to you guys today, she worked hard to basically bring the data and show you that, hey, people have came through this life trying to make a change. And the only way we're going to get these changes pushed through, we have to recognize that, hey, we deserve better, but we can't constantly point the finger.
Right. Accountability.
We have to take accountability. Now, what happened on Wall Street, Black Wall Street, that had nothing to do with us. They was trying to do the right thing, but somebody had to step in the way and strip that from them. But we still have the opportunity to still create a new profound Black Wall Street.
Yeah, we have so much more resources than they had. This is far from impossible. This is more than possible. All we need is teamwork and the excellent, intelligent brains that we already possess. Put them together. You know, that's what this life is about, connection and serving each other. Mm-hmm. That is exactly what Jesus modeled. Serving. You know, what are you doing? What are you doing to support your brothers and sisters? You know, that look like you or don't look like you. Mm-hmm. This life is about connection and servantship. Stewardship. What are you doing? And we just really want to bring you all back to a space of love and guide us to a healthy and healing place. You know, we have to let go of all this heavy, not to say that it's not valuable, but again, it gets to a point where it's baggage because we're still dwelling on certain things that aren't healthy for us.
It's not healing and it's not healthy.
Right. It's just unnecessary baggage, and we have to let go of the old stuff so that we can receive the new.
Yes. Yes.
So we're going to stop there for today. And we still have so much to unpack, but at the end of the day, we still want people to take accountability as ourselves and those who have not had integrity, just like those at the Jefferson Lincoln University. We're not going to have this anymore. I'm calling you guys out. And whatever you try to do, we're protected. And we love you also. We just need you to take accountability.
Most definitely. Well, we love you guys, and we appreciate you taking time out to be here with us today.
Yeah, you will never leave without any valuable information. Know that.
Most definitely.
We appreciate your love and support, everyone. We'll see you next time, and stay sweet.